I've really been craving a churro, so let me show you how I make mine. So the ingredients for churros are actually pretty simple. I used to be afraid to make this recipe, but it is pretty hard to screw it up to the point where it's inedible. They may not look pretty, but it's very easy. First off, you need some butter. This is 6 tablespoons. We have 1 teaspoon of salt. We have 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, a cup of flour. We got 3 eggs and 1 extra egg yolk, and then a cup of water. We have the deep fryer going over here at 375, but I'm going to try one of these churro makers. Saw it on Amazon, figured I'd give it a shot just because I don't have any piping tips at the moment, so that's my best option, and this came quicker than the piping tips would have. So we'll see if that works, and if it does, strong recommend. If not, I'll tell you guys it's complete garbage, but let's start to assemble this dough. It's very simple. The first thing we're going to do is add the butter to the pot on a medium-low heat and let this start to melt. Once it melts, we're going to add in the water, the sugar, the salt, and the vanilla. We're going to give that a good mix and let that come up to a boil. Don't let it boil too hard, but once you start to see those bubbles coming to the surface, make sure you give it a nice little mix, and then we're really going to turn down the heat, and we're going to add in that full cup of flour and start to mix that together to form a dough. From what I've been told, this is very similar to like a French choux dough, that very light, airy pastry, so that's interesting that that's what the base for churros is, but that's how I've seen everyone make it. It's very interesting. As you mix in that flour, make sure you try to get all those areas that are just raw flour mixed up well. The thicker the dough gets, it's going to be harder to get those, so just look for them. And once you're confident you got all that flour, add in the eggs and give it a mix together. It's going to look like it's not coming together, so I'm going to throw this onto a time lapse here for you so you can see that it will look strange for the first 30 seconds, maybe a minute, but it will come together, and you'll get something here that kind of looks like a very thick pancake batter, any sort of doughy batter. Let that sit out to the side for a minute, and now we're going to make the mix for the churros at the very end. This is a little bit of sugar. It's 1 cup mixed with a tablespoon of cinnamon, and that's just what we're going to roll the churros in. Now I'm going to load this churro maker. It's slightly easier than loading a pastry bag, but not by much. But once you get the handle of it, it starts to become a little easier. I found getting a spoon in there really made the process a lot smoother, and then kind of using the spatula to push it down. But once you get that fully loaded, I picked the basic star tip that it came with, and now we're going to lay out a wire rack and some paper towels to just let these drain when they come out. Here we have the oil. It's at 375, and this thing kind of works. It doesn't really send out a uniform amount from what I could see of the pastry. You can see how airy that dough is, though, because it immediately puffs. I let that sit for about 30 seconds, and then I flipped it over. And I just kind of keep flipping it. It will float on 1/2 of each side fairly evenly. So let that cook for about 4 to 5 minutes until it's that golden brown you're looking for, and then pull it out, put it on some paper towels, and let it drain. Now we're going to toss it in that cinnamon sugar. You want to be tossing these when they're still warm, so that's very important. Also, I just think, looking back on it, if you can do it with a pastry bag, I recommend the pastry bag. The churro maker really was not very good. All right, so here is the final batch. Obviously, they are not aesthetically pleasing. They're kind of strange looking. The smaller ones worked out much better than the big ones, which, not surprising. If you have a piping bag and a tip, I think that's the best way to go. This churro maker by Need Eat, don't really recommend it. It didn't work fantastically, but the important thing is, what did they taste like? The flavor's perfect. This hits the spot for when you want a churro. They're not as dense as you normally get at like a fair because those are pretty pre-made, frozen, shipped out. These are a lighter, airier batch. If you're looking for that denser kind of churro, I'm not exactly sure how to go about making that. You might maybe add a little less flour, more flour. I don't know. Comment down below if you know how to make them denser, more like a state fair churro. But these are really good. Give these a try if you're in the mood for a state fair style churro that's a little more airy and just kind of hits that spot for you. So if you just have that urge for churros, give this a try.